It's Brenda Charles-Edwards, host of Seniors Matter. We're here live on Pacific Standard Time on Rainier Avenue Radio World, your community radio station. You can also listen to us on YouTube, Facebook, and of course on the Rainier Avenue Radio App. We feature interviews with people that provide services or have valuable information for seniors, their families, and of course the community, because the community is the family that raises us all. Do you need financial documents notarized? Are you a person that needs documents read to you for clarity or completion? Just give me a call at Black Orchid Notary 206-683-2636. Tell me where, I'll meet you there. My guest today is John Yasutake. He is also a host on Seattle Here and Now for Rainier Avenue Radio, and he's a board member of Organization of Chinese Americans. Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
Hey, enjoying this wonderful spring-like weather, except it's like 40 degrees out here.
I know. I'm sitting in this room. There's no heat on. My hands are cold, and I've got my coat on. It's like, geez Louise.
But the sun is out. Soleil,
Yes.
soleil, as the French would say, soleil. Anyways, well, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you. And yes, and thank you for inviting me to your show, because this is going to be a very interesting one. So I have, like I said, I was thinking about it, contemplating about what would be interesting for seniors to talk about. Well, so let's get into it. But yeah, I'm on the board of the OCA, Organization Chinese Americans, Greater Seattle chapter, which is the oldest, one of the three oldest civil rights organizations ostensibly in the country. NAACP is, I guess, the oldest, and then comes JACL, Japanese American Citizens League, and then comes OCA. OCA was founded by individuals, and it was at the time when a young Chinese man by the name of Vincent Chin was murdered in Detroit by some auto workers who thought he was Japanese. And the reason they killed him is because he represented a threat to them because of the Japanese auto industry, and they thought he was Japanese, and so they murdered him. Basically, a gang attack. Not a gang, but a gang load of people just beat him to death, and it's just so tragic. But that's what OCA really was founded on, dealing with civil rights for Chinese Americans, but as well all Americans. Because we have formed really strong coalitions with NAACP, JACL. One of the major themes that we have been dealing with, not themes, but one of the major problems that we're dealing with this country are hate crimes. We've been involved in actually the legislation in this state to increase the penalty and vigilance regarding hate crimes, because there's been at the top of the list of individuals who are victims of hate crimes, African Americans are at the top of the list. But since the pandemic, COVID, 3,000% increase of hate crimes against persons of Asian descent, 300% increase in hate crimes against persons of Jewish descent. The issue of there's been conflicts across the country regarding and protests about Israel's response to the attack by the Hamas, etc. And that's also been a reflexive thing where there have been a number of hate crimes against Jewish persons, defacing of synagogues. So, as they say, business as usual, and now we believe it's going to get worse. One of the major groups that we work with are seniors. Seniors, because they have limited English, they have limited, I guess you could say, they live kind of in limbo because one of the problems that we have is that they're detached, um, with respect to English as a language base. And so well, I shouldn't say detached, but one of the problems they have is navigating this uh, system because they're not very versed in English, and some of the things that we do uh, traditionally, and they, one of the things that we work with them is because they've been victimized so many times, robberies and things like that, is because they don't use credit cards, they don't use debit cards, they don't write checks, they carry cash. And that's one of the things they do when they travel about. And so they've been been targeted for that kind of stuff. But as seniors, and we, even though they say seniors are vulnerable populations, well, in a sense, yes, seniors are vulnerable, but like I said, uh, a lot of it has to do with them being, I guess you could say, educated about certain things that they can do, certain things that culturally they do that really create problems for them. Like I said, they carry money. They don't do checks. They don't do debit cards, credit cards, things like that. So,
So, John, and speaking on that,
mhm,
have you guys tried to emphasize to them that people know this or think this so
yeah,
that they should do differently? And
yes.
what's their response to that?
Well, as you see that there has been a downturn in those kind of thefts and robberies, because we've done community, outreach to the different groups. We're also doing outreach now to what happens in natural disasters,
Mm,
like what's going on in LA, fires. I mean,
right.
the big fires and here earthquakes. So that's one of the things that we're doing. But yeah, we have been getting the word out, and it seems to be working. And what we're saying is, if you do go to the bank with another a
Right.
group or a family member,
Hmm.
and be vigilant, that kind of
Right.
thing.
Look,
Um,
know your surroundings and look at your surroundings.
yeah, and don't make it a pattern.
Right. Go to
Don't
different
always
banks.
Yeah, don't always yeah, thank you. Don't always go to the bank on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock.
Right.
Change it up.
Hmm.
And the other thing is, if anything, get a debit card.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's like cash. Uh,
Hmm.
but again, like I said, it's one of the things that we work with. And again, it's seniors. Seniors get targeted because they're, like I said, they're a vulnerable population. And also in a sense, we make seniors vulnerable. Our society does that. You know, it's just kind of best way to describe it is we have a youth culture in this country.
Yes.
Seniors are looked upon as frail, and oh, that I don't want to get into that one because
But
we.
but you have a point there, John. And one of the things that I find a little amusing is that they're always talking about the young people need to be in the places. The young people need to be doing this. The young people need to be doing that.
Mhm,
But what they forget is that one day, if the Lord blesses them,
uh-huh,
they're going to become seniors.
mhm,
Okay. And being a senior, most seniors have a lot of knowledge and wisdom. And it doesn't hurt the young people to listen to what they have to say, to understand why things are done certain ways. And, you can be open to change, but how about learning how something is now and the way it's being done? And then once you learn it, then you can make some adjustments to it.
mhm. Right. But
Seniors,
first, you need
most
the
seniors
knowledge.
are not old and incapacitated, especially brain wise, you
Mhm,
know. But if, like I said, if they're blessed, they will become seniors and then maybe they'll have a better understanding.
mhm. Yeah. Well, a better understanding. What I don't understand is, how did we elect Donald Trump for another term? This guy,
Because of fear.
yeah,
I think because of fear. Um, and, I pray every day that our country will be safe, our economy will be stable, and that we will learn to live together harmoniously, because no matter what your race is, you're still a child of God
mm,
and you're human beings, and we need to stick together, because there's other human beings that feel that they're just as good as we are, if not better, that are going to try to take us over one day, just like
yeah,
it's happening all over the world in other countries. So don't think we're exempt, and we
mhm,
need to be together. I mean, I know back in World War II, was it, when African Americans were sent to the front line, and saying, okay, yes, we need you, but when you came back home, oh, you're nobody.
right,
So we just need, this is so, like certain young man said, can't we just get along?
right,
Come on, Rodney had it right
yeah,
when he said that.
yeah,
And
he
but I
did.
realized, and it's not just race, and it's seniors versus the young people. I mean, all of that's crazy, just absolutely crazy. But some of it stems from fear. So
Well, and that is, I think, the reason why he was reelected. And look what he's doing now. I mean, he's dismantling DEI. He's gathering up all the immigrants, going to get ready. Wants to take away the citizenship rights of individuals who were born here, who are children of immigrants. I
right.
mean, there's this guy, and now he's going after Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. He's threatened that. He and
Okay,
that
so
guy.
before we go on with that,
Yeah.
John, let me do a quick commercial
Sure.
break. Then we're going to talk about that. If you're just tuning in, you're listening live to Seniors Matter with your host, Brenda Charles-Edwards, on www.rainieravenueradio.world, your Seattle community radio station. We're here on Fridays at 12:30 p.m. Do you know what's the best legacy you could give to yourself and your loved ones? Join me on Zoom for a group or individual session on legacy end-of-life planning. Now back to my guest, John Yasutake, who is on the board of the Organization of Chinese American, as well as being a local advocate.
Well, thank you very much. What? Oh, thank you, Teresa, for your comments. And I'm reading it right here. Unfortunately, some of this younger generation aren't thinking about seniors and the rush to change neighborhoods, etc. Yeah, good point. Yeah, we all, everybody has to make it. We all have to be together on this. I mean, this
Yep.
is one of the things that we're going to have to learn, relearn, and keep learning, and keep teaching, and keep preaching. But like I said, we're going to have some challenges ahead, because this administration is intent upon removing much of what we call the safeguards that protect our populations, our vulnerable populations, or just in general our populations. The issue of equity, diversity, equity, he's going after that. Equal opportunity, all those things that are etched in civil rights and in what is equity and fairness, he wants to do away with. He's made comments that, all this does, DEI does, is make white men feel bad, or
Oh,
they yeah, I know, and
sorry.
it these programs are designed are attacking white men. White men are victims. Wow,
Well,
what?
what about Social Security?
Yeah, I know.
What about Medicare?
Thank you. I mean, there are more white Americans on Medicare, Medicaid, and welfare than people of color.
Right.
So, like I said, that is so interesting that he would be doing that with that guy Elon Musk. But and I was watching the certain parts of it, I didn't watch that farcical inauguration. But they had I think it was MSNBC one of the major networks pointed out that surrounding him were the billionaires of this country.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Fox, of course. I mean, no, but Elon Musk, the head of Jeff Bezos, head of Facebook, etc. These guys were all there with him celebrating his inauguration, and that bodes a very dangerous precedent, because what's happening is, as they say, it's an oligarchy, but it's more or less more inclined to be an elitist society now.
Mm.
And those that can pay the ticket, yeah, you're welcome aboard. But those of us who can't, we're going to fall by the wayside. And so that's real interesting, like I said. And when he went and made these comments about Social Security, now Medicare, Medicaid, etc., it's dangerous. And so I thought to myself, well, what can we do to blunt him? And one of the best ways to do it is activism. We really need to use that opportunity at the midterm in 2 years to start looking at who are the candidates and the incumbents that we need to take and challenge and make it more, because it's heavily Republican right now. And if we think we're going to change it to blue, we're going to have to get active. And unfortunately, what has happened is Republicans have now been painted with that big wide brush that if you're a Republican, it's coincidentally or synonymous with being a MAGA Republican.
Mm.
Make America great again. People aren't making distinctions. To me as well, a Republican is a MAGA Republican. A Republican or a MAGA Republican is a Republican. Period. And it seems to fit though. Some of the things I'm seeing is just totally so bizarre. What we're hearing coming from, they want to do an amendment now to the Constitution to let Trump have a third term, or uh, have a third term venue for any president, but this one is to support him to have a third term. He's already had one term. Constitution says you only get two. He's got his second. That would eliminate him as a candidate again, but they're trying to put an amendment in the Constitution that will allow him to get a third term. Why? And it comes up now. It didn't come up for Obama. It
Right.
didn't come up for Biden. It didn't
Right.
come up for Bill Clinton, or even the Bushes. You
Right.
know, both daddy and son. And so this is particularly aimed at keeping him in, and it's called, and you'll see different
What's it
verbiage.
called, John?
Huh?
What's it called? What's the amendment called? Do you know?
Just to give the president a third term, as the Constitution only provides for two. They're going to allow a president to have 3 terms.
So what's the process on that? Yeah, I don't really know the
Any
process.
constitutional amendment has to go to Congress.
Okay.
It has to pass.
Who would bring it up? Is that a senator or?
Oh yeah, he's the senator. I believe he's the senator. I just read it in passing, but it's either senator or congressperson,
Okay.
and they're proposing an amendment. But an amendment has to be voted on, and I think it's 3/4. 75% of Congress has to support. Yeah,
Well,
I didn't do very well.
yeah, that's okay. So just going back to OCA, so it's a nonpartisan organization, right?
Right.
And approximately how many people does it represent?
Oh gosh. Oh man, let me say, the
10,000?
at least
Okay.
because when you count, we have chapters in all the major cities where you do have an international district, Chinatown, Philadelphia, LA, Miami, I mean, New York, etc. So we've got, oh God, the membership is, yeah, several thousands. At least I'd be surprised if it was not anything less than 15 to 20,000 across the country as a membership. But we have, like I said, chapters in most the western states, it's Seattle and LA, and there's one in Sacramento. So there's in California, there's three, I think: LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, and then Washington is on the West Coast. There's none in Oregon or Alaska, but then you've got one in Texas, you've got one in Houston, Texas, you've got, larger cities, Miami, etc. We are there.
So, how does one join the organization?
Go online, OCA, Organization Chinese American. There's a website, and all I do is just do Organization Chinese American, and there's a national, and that's or like I said, we have a website, but I don't have it handy right here. But look up
That's okay.
OCA, Organization Chinese Americans, and it will show us on there because we just did not a fundraiser, but an awards banquet last Friday, and an award ceremony and a banquet and a fundraiser as well. That was last on the agenda. But I mean, it was a great event. We had a maximum turnout. We were honoring several members of the community: Tuck Ang, Tomio Moriguchi, who's the owner operator of Wajimaya, and Dolores Sabanga, first Filipino woman to be elected to the Seattle City Council, and then also the Jackson Street Community Council, which was one of the first community councils to deal with redlining and open housing, etc. My wife's uncle, Walt Hundley, was also involved in open housing. He was a member of CORE at the time, Walter R. Hundley. So anyways, some great organizations, great individuals, and we honor them. Plus, we sprang, a 10-course meal at Deng Fang restaurant. You know it as Joy Palace, right there on ML King. Great. It was a great event, and it always is. And like I said, it's our way of honoring the members of the community. We've had Larry Gossett honored, Eddie Wright, people like that have been honored. I don't know if Eddie, but I know Larry has, and Eddie's done a lot, as well as the fact that Eddie and people like Larry and other members of the African American community have worked very closely with the Asian community, the Latino community. The Gang of Four was, Bernie White Bear, Bob Santos, Larry Gossett, etc. It was a display of coalition building amongst racial groups, ethnic groups, which was really good, and I think people are saying, man, we need to do that now again. All of us need to get together because we're going to have to fight for everything, to keep everything in place that we have that works, and to protect that, that to preserve our rights, because this guy is the most undemocratic president we've got going, and to be seated in that Oval Office, as they say. So that's what I'm concerned about.
The key thing, John, then is that, like you say, midterm, we need to get together. Everybody needs to, if they're not already registered to vote.
Exactly. There you go.
Get out there and do that, because your vote is what makes the difference.
Yep. And we can vote because, again, the way our government is designed, it's called the check and balance. We cannot let a president railroad everything through. We need to, check him, and that the only way to do that is to get more representation of the way we believe it should be for the House and the Senate, because right now they are the majority are Republicans,
right?
And unfortunately, you can count on one hand the number of Republicans that are willing to stand up against this idiot. And yeah, and they've been ostracized by their own party. You
Right.
know,
So,
uh,
John, I'm going to have to put a pin in it because we're running out of time and I've got a couple commercials to make. But I want to
oh,
thank you so much for coming on the show. And John will be back, not to worry. This is Brenda Charles-Edwards, host of the Seniors Matter Show. You can listen to us live on www.RainierAvenueRadio.world, your community radio station, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and of course, the Rainier Avenue Radio app. We're here on Fridays at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. Thank you to those that have sent in comments. We appreciate your participating and listening, and please pass our show on to other people. High school boys basketball live tonight on Rainier Avenue Radio at 8:30 with number 5 Seattle Prep taking on number 1 Rainier Beach. Go Beach, go Beach. Next month from February 1st to the 28th, drop by the Columbia City Theater for the annual Call to Conscious Black History Month Museum. Find out more about this year's exhibits and get your tickets early at calltoconscience.world. Thank you to my listening viewing audience and the music Ragtime by MC Glass, A.K. Robert D. Bassett Jr. with Delano C. Baychester, LLC. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Live your life like it's golden. Love you guys.